Okay. Hey, Jim, you are now the host. Oh, now you are. All right. Okay. All right. Looking at the clock. Okay, 6:31. We are going to get started. And we don't do the Pledge of Allegiance on Zoom because I can't quite figure out how to do that. Wouldn't make it like mean anything. So we're going to skip that part of the agenda. But first we'll do the roll call. JJ, did you get the roster I sent you? But you're on mute, buddy.
Yes, I do. Would you want people just to type their name and info in the box like we did before during the pandemic?
I'm sorry, say again?
Should we have the people just type their name and civic association in the box, in the chat box, like we did before?
Yes, we could do that. We could do that. So for those of you who weren't here during the pandemic, which there might be a few, please in the chat box, put that you are here and the name of your civic association that you're representing. And then we won't need to take time doing a roll call, and we can go from there. Take a little time. Okay.
Let's see.
Everybody got that?
I don't have a 4-year-old here, so I probably won't be able to.
Okay. Well, Jim, I got you. I know Cooley.
Jim, okay, we got you.
Okay, Coley Hammett, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I got you,
Thank you.
Jim. Don't worry. Okay. Anybody else need anything? Let me know. Or
I'm
let
gonna
me
try
know in the
it.
chat, but I guess actually that won't work. So.
I'm gonna try it.
Okay. With that, we're going to get started. We have Tristan Trivet here. He's the Education Assistant and Community Outreach Coordinator for the NSU Art Museum in Fort Lauderdale. Everybody knows where that is. And actually, Jim, you have to make him the host because he has a presentation. So with that, if you can do that, and we can give Tristan the floor, and then Tristan, you have a presentation you want to share, am I correct?
Yes, please. Just a brief few slides going over our museum offerings called Neighborhood of the Month. I've been reaching out. A few of your names are familiar, so you've gotten emails from me as invites to come to the museum and join us for a block party social, basically. It's every last Sunday of the month. And I still can't share yet.
No, I'm trying to do that and it's not letting me.
Okay, hang on for a second. I don't think I do it, but maybe.
Try it.
Let me see.
Okay, give me a second. Where is that 4-year-old? Give me a minute. Let's see. Oh, that's. Jim, you got to do it. Well, I think I can do it. Let's see. Oh, here, I can do it.
You can do it.
Okay. Tristan, let me make you the host. Apologies.
No worries.
Why do I not see you? You're on here as Tristan, right?
Yes, Tristan Trivet, NSU Art Museum.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Perfect. Awesome.
Okay, there you go.
There
Great.
you go.
Thank you so much. Okay, share. And let me move this and start. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. So yes, like mentioned, I'm Tristan Trivet. I'm Community Outreach Coordinator and Education Assistant here at the NSU Art Museum. Today, I would like to be talking about a free art social that you can have and arrange with your neighborhood, with your direct neighbors. So the program is called Neighborhood of the Month, and it falls on something that we call Neighbor Day. So I just want a general education. Neighbor Day is always offered every last Sunday of the month. And it's free admission for all Fort Lauderdale residents. There's a general 10% discount on our museum publications in our store. And there's an additional 2-for-1 wine offered at our cafe. So it's every last Sunday, like I mentioned, but you can invite your friends. It doesn't have to be an organized thing. It's just free admission into the museum, which is usually $16 otherwise. But to extend on this program, we do offer the Neighborhood of the Month program. This includes a tour of our current exhibitions. This program is very flexible. We always want to hear and cater your experience to what you think your neighbors would want. So we can always focus on one exhibition. We can do general museum highlights and go throughout the whole museum. But it's however you would like to experience the museum. We generally offer a private reception area, so it's sanctioned off in our museum breezeway. This is usually in this space we usually offer to other nonprofits and for-profit companies for $550. But as an HOA becoming a Neighborhood of the Month, you'll be able to enjoy this space entirely for free. In this space, we like to have 2-for-1 wine and our catering opportunity. I unfortunately don't work at all with that, but I would put you in connection with Sally Glenn, our cafe manager, who does. And so you could arrange anywhere from light refreshments to just 2-for-1 bottles of wine, to cookies, to full sandwiches even. Yes, so that would be the offerings for Neighborhood of the Month. This is a recent one we had. If Victoria Park had come. They had 11 guests and neighbors that came just last Neighbor Day, actually. And it was great fun. They seemed to enjoy it a lot. This is a previous group from another year. And it can get quite big. So this is the museum breezeway. This is the general area that we tend to. If it's raining though, we do have other areas to move the group, especially if you request it. And I do want to stress that families are always welcome. So yes, there is 2-for-1 wine, but we also have a full cafe. So juice boxes and sodas and even water and refreshments. We don't want to make it exclusionary for anyone. So families are obviously welcome to your Neighborhood of the Month day. I think it makes great fun. We can even maybe arrange an art activity. I've been talking about that with the team, so I hope that we can bring that maybe if you are interested, bringing that to you. Marilyn, do you have a question?
No, I'm just waiting to, after you finish, to tell everybody what a wonderful job you do. That's all.
Oh, thank you. So reserving is easy. It's very much a grassroots program. So all the advertising goes out by me, and so is the reservation process. So it's literally just an email. So all you have to do is say that you would like to become a Neighborhood of the Month. Tell your association, your residents that hey, we're meeting at NSU Art Museum, 2-for-1 wine. You can choose to pay for your guests or have them pay. They also receive the 2-for-1. And get that group to come here. Carpooling is a popular option. We suggest, so this is the form that when you go to reserve, this is the form, all the information that I basically need in order to reserve your spot. And so we do need an estimated number of guests, which should be very accurate, so that we can properly prepare. We generally tend to do it from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. On Sundays. The museum opens at 12 and closes at 5. So the last 2 hours of operating, but We are flexible as well. We can do whatever time. If you think the morning would be better, we can arrange the morning for your HOA. And then just what exhibits you would like to see. So we do have some exciting exhibitions to come opening mid-November that I will tell you about shortly. But we also have great works on view right now. We have Picasso ceramics, we have our American Impressionist Glackens, and our Haitian artwork show called Cosmic Mirrors. So basically, to reserve, all you need to know is a time you would like to do it, which we suggest 3 to 5, the guests, and then a coordinator or a contact that I can have for this. And then, of course, if you want catering, you would go into contact with Sally Glenn. I'll put you in relationship with her. So these are some of the shows that we have coming up opening mid-November. I'm very excited for Glory of the World color field painting. It will open November 19th. This is a Sam Gilliam here that you're seeing. He's a very famous artist from the Washington School. He's kind of a keystone artist for this movement. The movement is characterized by, of course, color and a mission of form. So they don't depict anything that we can instantly recognize. It's purely abstract. And I think it makes for very interesting explorations of material. We will also be opening our Wallace Ting exhibition November 9th. Wallace Ting is an Asian American artist who, this will be his first US solo show. He's long deceased, but still a great achievement for him. He's a part of the Cobra Arts movement, which our museum actually has the largest collection of Cobra arts in the United States. Cobra is an acronym for Copenhagen, Brussels, and Amsterdam. And so these are 2 exciting shows. It's going to be bright color. It feels very Florida. It's actually, the exhibition's titled Jungle Island because Wallace Ting used to come down here to Miami and experience the attraction Jungle Island, which used to be like a garden amusement park. So these are just some availabilities that I have listed, and my email as well. So for the rest of this year, we have October 29th, which is about 2-3 weeks. November 26th, which we've seen a lot of difficulty coordinating because it's Thanksgiving. If you feel like you can manage a group, then we will be more than happy to welcome, even if it is 9 people. It doesn't have to be a huge event. Of course, we would prefer if it was, but there's no faults at all either. 2024, we are completely free except for January and February. So our first availability would be March 31st in 2024. If any of these dates look particularly interesting to you, you can reserve them now. I can put it down now and you guys can get first pick because this reservation process is first come, first serve. And then, yeah, so that is that's my whole presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions. And then I believe, Marilyn, you said you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Mary, can I give a testimonial at the moment?
Yeah, please go ahead, Marilyn.
I want to tell you all how simple they make this process to set this up. And as a busy civic association president, you want simple, 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 you know, just a couple of emails and it's all set up. The catering is very, very reasonable. We ended up with so many cookies. We were giving cookies away to the children in the museum. That's how many cookies we had for the amount of money we spent. And it's really wonderful. It's a great member benefit. It's a great team building effort. And I heartily recommend it to anyone who, any civic association who's looking to put together a program for their members.
Thank you.
And Tristan, this is Mary Peliquin. I'm assuming that like two civic associations could go together and do this.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You can
I mean,
always...
maybe, you know, to my board members, you know, quite frankly, why doesn't the council hold do one of these things?
That would
Maybe.
absolutely work.
Maybe that'll be our next social. So what I'm really looking at here as far as the date, it's the last Sunday of every month, starting in March is there's availability. So I have to kind of like look at the dates that we have coming up in 2024, which of course, why would I print them out so that I could see them? But let me do that. That might be something we do with the council.
That would be beautiful. I would love
Yeah.
to work with you on that.
Okay, that might be a fun thing to do. What, anybody off the top of their head, is that in District 2, the museum?
I believe so.
Okay, so that would be something we might do the first quarter of the year. So let me just write down those.
Actually, that is technically District 4 still, I believe.
Oh,
And that's in the downtown neighborhood. So it's why.
that's District 4. Okay, okay. Well, good to
And-
know.
I think you are correct.
Yeah. And Mary, this is Melinda from downtown neighborhood. Tristan, nice to see you. Just like Marilyn said, we did it as well. We've actually done it 2 years in a row now. Our last event was April 30. And both years we've combined with Rio Vista and Cooley Hammock. So it's been like a tri-neighborhood event. And we call it like a wine and art social. The 2-for-1 bottles is great deal, and as Marilyn said, they make it so easy. So I really didn't need many volunteers to help, and we had probably around 30 to 40 each time.
Well, that's a good idea. Let's see, so Coral Ridge Country Club, and Sunrise Intercoastal. So let us all talk amongst ourselves, and if anybody is interested in this, let me know. I have all the information how to get a hold of Tristan. As you can see, his name, Tristan.Trivet, kind of a cool name, at the Museum of Art, Fort Lauderdale.org or FL.org. John Burns, go ahead.
Yeah, could I just ask, does the museum have any other public rooms that are available for civic groups to meet in? I know you've got the big auditorium, but are there rules around using that and cost involved and things like that?
Yes, so what that's sounding more like is a venue rental. I don't know if our auditorium would be conductive or conducive for a social space. There's a lot of other places. We do have a boardroom on the 3rd floor on administration level that can hold up to 80 bodies. And then we also have this large, if you've ever visited our museum, we have this large space that we call the Curve. It's basically this offshoot up the stairs right by the galleries. And we've held food socials and catered events there as well. So I can always ask for permission and ask where we can organize the group.
Okay, thank you.
Tristan,
I may reach out to you on that space, 80 bodies. Interesting, but that'll be a sidebar. I don't want to take up time now.
No worries.
Okay.
Tristan, I did have one question. You said that the museum is going to have a Picasso ceramic exhibit. Can you tell me when that is?
It's actually currently on view, and it will be on view, I believe, until January of next year.
Okay.
And it's several ceramics in their own designated space. It's maybe 25 different ceramics that Picasso touched himself and painted. We also, with that exhibition, we have a video installation of him actually working on the ceramics. So you can see his process behind the objects that are a part of our collection.
Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, well, Tristan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch for maybe a variety of reasons.
Yes.
People know, but yeah, I think that's I know my neighborhood has never taken advantage of these, and that's a mistake. We really should. So I appreciate this. I appreciate the museum doing this for us. So thank you.
Mary, can I just ask another question?
Oh, sure.
I
Go
mean,
ahead, John.
I'm assuming it's okay as a civic association if we just simply advertise this free Sunday in our newsletter, you know, because every last Sunday of the month is free at the Museum of Art.
Oh, yeah.
And if we wanted any graphics or things from the museum, we could contact Tristan if we just want to dump up a paragraph into our newsletter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love to get those materials to you.
Tristan, Mary, this is Ann Helmer. I can't figure out how to put my hand up, but
That's okay. I see you.
I just got the membership application for renewing our membership, and there's nothing in it that tells what the collections are that the museum has going, and there's nothing in it that tells what the schedule is of what's to be coming. That might help in terms of getting more membership.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I completely agree with you. I wish we could advertise our upcoming exhibitions. Unfortunately, it's not public-facing knowledge. We are working a lot with international organizations and dealers and collectors, and so sometimes loans fall through. And so before we announce that we'll have an exhibition, we like to be absolutely certain that we'll receive the artwork that will be on view planned for the exhibition. So I think that's where that kind of secrecy comes from. And I hate to see it, and I'm sorry that that's been your experience.
Hi. Fair answer. And John, you still have your hand up. Oh, you're muted.
No, I will lower my hand.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions or? Okay. I think when you are friends of the museum, because I am, I mean, I get like notices in my email when something's coming. So that's a good way too. It sounds like you are also, Anne. All right. Well, Tristan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate cyber meeting you, and I look forward to meeting you in person one day, probably in 2024, if not before.
Awesome. I can't wait.
All right.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to present. It was
Well,
super
thank you.
wonderful. Thank
If
you so
anybody
much.
wants to know how to get a hold of Tristan, you can always ask me if you didn't write down his contact info.
My
Okay,
email's
I'm
just
going
at
to
the bottom of the
reclaim
screen.
you want to, I think I can just go like, there we go. All right, everybody's back. Oops, let me get all these other people in. Hang on for a second. Because I can see we have a quorum. Before we get on with our next speaker, which is actually Marilyn, I would like to do a little bit of business because we do have 2 vacancies. I kind of catch everybody off guard here a little bit. We have 2 vacancies. We have the District 4 representative and the recording secretary position open. And we do have nominations for both. And if we only have one nomination, this makes it a pretty easy hand vote. If there is, we have more than one person, then it's a little bit more complicated, but it takes a little more time. So, so my 2 nominees in the minutes, one for District 4 representative is Vanessa Apothekar, and she is on there waving if anybody, you guys can see her. And she did send me in writing that she wished for that position, to fill that position. And I think you guys heard her at the last meeting talk about, you know, her background. So are there any other nominations for that position? Are there any questions in regard to that position? Okay, well, that was fairly easy. So what I'm going to do, instead of going through any kind of paper ballot, is I need somebody to make a motion for her to be the District 4 representative and somebody to second it.
I'll make the motion to nominate Vanessa Apothekar to be our District 4 representative.
And I'll second it from District 4.
Okay, so that's Belinda making the motion and Marilyn seconding it. So All in favor, please say aye out loud or
Aye.
raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Colby Hamilton, aye.
So funny. All right, is there anybody opposed? All right, well, Vanessa, welcome to the board. That would be 22 meetings a year, and we'll go over what a district rep report looks like. And we welcome you. We're very happy to have you. I think we're very lucky to have you. So thank you for sticking your hand up and welcome. Okay, great. And our next position that's open is recording secretary, which we won't make the person do tonight because I see Dennis actually doing it tonight. But that is Donna Mergenhagen. And I think she was recording secretary before. Am I correct? I think so. Before my time on the council. And she has generously, knowing what the position is, come forward and asked to be the recording secretary once again. So are there any other nominations for this position besides Donna? Everybody's, no? Okay, then we're gonna go ahead. Oh yeah, Anne, I see you raising your hand.
I was gonna nominate Donna.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. So Ann Hilmer has made the motion to nominate Donna.
I'll second.
And Jim Concanon has seconded it. So all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
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 Right, any opposed? All right, Donna, welcome back to the board of the Council of Fort Lauderdale Civic Stations as the recording secretary. You don't have to do it tonight, but you do have to do it for 22 meetings a year in the future. And then if you've never, and I think I know how to tell you, I don't think I need to tell you how to do it, but we'll talk. Okay, so thank you. All right, thank you, Donna and Vanessa, for stepping forward. And yeah, we all look forward to having you on the board. And it'll be a good time, right? Right, my other board members, a good time. So who knows what the year and a half holds for the next term. So good. Thank you so much. Okay, well, with that, we have some interesting news from the P3 committee. Marilyn, let me give you hosting duties. Hang on for a second. Where are you here? Second, here we go. Okay, Marilyn, you are now the host.
No, Schlecht is the host, not me.
What?
You hit the wrong button.
Oh, you can go back. Oops, not this. Okay. You're right, I hit the wrong first. Who did I make the host?
You made Ted the host.
Okay, well, that was wrong.
Oh.
No,
You.
not you. I got it. I know what button to push. Here we go.
Please the host.
Wait, you know what it does is it jumps around. That's why it does that. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go to screen sharing.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm gonna go to my desktop. And I'm going to click on this. Can everybody see this?
Yep.
Okay, this is the spreadsheet. Let me back up since everybody is not up to date on what's been going on. About 6-7 months ago, the council established a committee to interact with the city attorney on the whole P3 process, how it was working, what it was all about, and what the issues were that we, the committee and the board, had identified. And this was not a pro or an anti P3 committee. This was a committee that was charged with finding out the facts and understanding the process, and also to solicit from the committee and the board members what were the issues that we had seen over the years with the P3. So essentially what we did was we put together this basic flow chart, which describes the process in some detail. And it took us a while to get to this because there was a lot of not misunderstanding, but people just didn't know what the process was. And there was a difference of opinion of what the process was. So, but we finally, with the help of the city attorney, reached this understanding of what is the basic flow chart of how this process works. And that was our original charge, was to understand the process and to bring that information back to the board and to the membership, which you see it here. This is the basic flow chart. And in addition, we also, from the meetings that we had with the city attorney and the emails back and forth between the various members of the committee and the board, we identified a number of concerns. And you see that on the other side of the document. These are the concerns that we had at various points in the process themselves. And then we had a number of general concerns from committee members and board members about their experience with P3 pro and con. So we had come to this part in our endeavors, and I want to acknowledge at this moment some of the people on the committee who are here with us tonight. And if I don't get everybody, I apologize. Ann Helmer is on the committee. Mary Pelican's on the committee. Let's see. Christine Jones is on the committee. Bill Brown is on the committee. Donna Mergenhagen is on the committee. And I think that's the only members who are with us tonight who are on the committee. If I forgot anybody, I truly apologize. So again, finishing up on the education part of our process, and we were about to engage with the membership, you all, about what would be the next steps. What do you want us to do? When it turns out, serendipitously, that the city attorney, having gone through this process with us and having spoken with a number of the city commissioners, I assume, has actually put forward a draft ordinance for the P3s. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to show you what we received just today. As we spoke this morning, I received this draft ordinance from the city attorney to amend the procurement procedure ordinance to include a process for public-private partnerships. You can see it right here. This is new language that he is proposing about public-private partnerships, solicited, and if you go down, unsolicited, which are usually the ones that cause us the most grief and aggravation. I have not had a chance to even look at this since it just came in, but I think that this is a big step forward in that the putting aside the substance, whether we agree with the substance of what his proposal is, the fact that we have moved the needle from education to action, I think speaks very well for the work of the committee and the effort that Mary and the board had asked us to undertake. So here we are, just about to enter into a discussion with the city commission and the city staff about how to do P3s better. And I think that's a marvelous place to be in. And I would recommend that the board charge the committee now with interfacing with the city attorney. He has asked for our input since we've been working together. He wants to know what we think about this. I would recommend that the board tell the committee to get back together pronto and provide the input into this. So that's really my report for this evening. Mary, up to you.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that up there for a minute. That is 18 pages of legalese. And I'm married to a lawyer. My son is a lawyer. Both my father-in-laws, yeah, I did have two. They're lawyers, and we need a lawyer. I don't think we have any, if any of you are lawyers, please step forward and tell me what this thing says. I mean, it's I mean, I can get kind of the gist of it, but Marilyn, you are correct, and I would like you and your committee to get back together with the city attorney and have him explain this. And what's good is that, you know, people are listening to us. I believe it's us that, you know, this has happened. So I appreciate the work of the committee, but I also appreciate that all the members of the council, you know, have like talked about how difficult this P3 has been on us, the public. So at least we've moved the needle somewhat. And Jim just said, if you guys didn't see it, he'll post this on the website. One thing I do have to let you know is that the mayor and the commissioners have not seen this. They won't see it until their meeting right before, at some point, kind of close to their commission meeting next Tuesday. It doesn't mean that if you look at it and you understand what in the world it says, that you can't talk to them about it. And honestly, I haven't really read it very well. I'm sure I can get some of it, understanding out of it, but just be aware that they have not seen it. And the city attorney just wanted us to be aware, but we could still talk to them about it, I guess. But I think we need to have a good understanding of what it means, Marilyn. So if you can get the committee back together, that would be very cool.
Yeah, we get the band back together and we'll start working on it.
Yeah. I see something from John Burns. He wants to know, when is it going from the commission? Next to a week from today. That's what Marilyn, am I correct? Is that what I understood in that email that he sent?
That's what I understood, but I believe we have a commissioner on here. Maybe he knows better.
I thought you'd never ask.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
Okay, you want me to go give you, this actually, I'll tell you how it came through the city attorney's office. Could everybody see and hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this actually maybe about 6 or 8 months ago, this came up in conference. There was some outcry. I think it might have started with some of the C3s that had come through the process, and in conference, I had asked the city attorney if they could come up with a P3 ordinance. We discussed it at the next meeting, and we gave direction to D. Wayne about 6 months ago, or something in that range, to come up with a P3 ordinance. So that's why he was working simultaneously alongside what you guys were doing. This came to a head with there was the Swimming Hall of Fame thing that came up this past week. Actually, it was 2 meetings ago, and it was brought up again this past week about the process and making it more transparent. I met with the city attorney yesterday. This will be coming forward as a conference item, I believe. It's not going to be voted on. I believe it's a conference item that's going to be coming forward this coming Tuesday, 1 week from today. So this is an opportunity for us to look at it, massage it, give our input. I have a couple of thoughts that I want to put in a few minutes. The agenda should be coming out tomorrow. In theory, it comes out every Wednesday, and the backup should be attached to it. So if everything goes well, this might be available online as early as tomorrow with when they publish the agenda. One of the things that I felt strongly about, and I spoke to the city attorney about this yesterday, was having a mechanism to give more public input. One of the issues is the state gives a range, and Jerry's on here, my chief of staff. I believe it's anywhere between 30 days to maybe 180 days, or somewhere in that range. We don't have to go by that limit. We could set our own limit, and we might decide, listen, 30 days by the time they make a proposal to put it out there for other people to have competing proposals. We might want to say, listen, by our ordinance, we might want to make it a longer period of time. So give other competing entities more time to put in a competing offer. But the biggest thing that I wanted to take away from this is something that happened 2 meetings ago when they put through the Swimming Hall of Fame. Now that might or might not be a great project, but my problem was we had been dumped over several hundred pages on a Thursday, and we had to vote on it by Tuesday. And one of the proposals that I am going to ask that he add to that is if you're going to have a comprehensive agreement that comes out of a P3, make it mandatory to have 2 readings. What that does is that gives us at least 2 weeks to look it over, to show it to the public, to come back at that point to read it. So no more of this dumping something on us 2, 3, 4 days before we vote on it, to have an agreement that's a 50-year agreement with hundreds of pages that took us through that, just to give us more time to look at it. That's my big push. I think any other questions? Jerry's on here that could fill in some of the blanks, but that's the gist of what we spoke to the city attorney about yesterday. Hope that is helpful.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate hearing all that. I still like to think that we, the council, did it, but I'll give you a little credit, Commissioner. But and I think
Simultaneous. We
there we go.
we
There
think
we go.
alike. We
Yeah.
think alike.
Yeah. We may have started talking to the city attorney about this before you were Commissioner. I am going to give Marilyn and her committee that credit for that. So it seems so long ago, honestly, but it took us a while to kind of get our arms around what has happened. So, and I would agree with you, and I think the committee would agree with you, that 30 days is way too short. And I think the state statute, if I recall, I don't recall everything very well, but I'm pretty sure it was 120 days.
Good.
Marilyn might.
Now, what I'm going to ask of you, and again, years ago, I was part of this council. I know the work that we do and how influential it is, and what an ear you have for the city. I'd like to get a feedback from you as you guys look at it before we go forward, what you'd like to from me, because I'm going to be representing you guys, and not, I mean, obviously District 4, but the community as a whole. Things that you'd like to see in the ordinance, and concerns that you have, please. From this group, let me know what you want to bring forward, and so I could advocate for you guys for that. That's the big ask.
Okay, well, you know, with that, I have everybody's ear right now. I'm here. You are all pretty much leaders of your civic associations or representatives, and email me, marypeliquin@gmail.com. I think everybody has that email, and tell me what you would like to see. I know what the committee would like to see. It's already in writing, and Marilyn has that there, and we can share all that with Commissioner Sermon. But we'll, you know, within reason, let me know what you want to see. If there's a consensus on a lot of things, we'll add that to it if Marilyn doesn't have that in her report already. But I got a feeling it's going to be about the same thing. But I think
Mary, can I make a suggestion? If the material that Jim is going to be posting, the actual proposed ordinance, we might also post the material that the committee had put together, the timeline, the issues, you know, so maybe it'll make people's juices start thinking about the subject.
Yeah, this is Michelle from District, from Dorsey Riverbend. I was going to suggest that because I really wanted to join your committee, Marilyn, but it was just impossible to add anything else. I am very much interested in this topic.
Excellent.
So yeah, I'm very much interested in this topic. So if you can put the information on, I guess, on the website, Mary, it will be very helpful, because I probably will be emailing you some insight.
so. Jim, do you have both of those things? Marilyn's things she just showed, and I know you have this because I sent it to you.
I have this, right, but I don't have what Marilyn,
It'll be in your inbox in a moment.
great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we will do that, and probably, I don't know how fast Jim's little fingers can work, but as fast as he can do it.
Try to get it done today. By Christmas, definitely.
Yeah. They're
All
talking
right.
about the P3 now. They're gonna send that information out, huh?
Christine's spreading the word already.
Yeah. So Christine, if you're gonna talk on your phone, you gotta put yourself on mute.
Thank you. I forgot about that.
That's okay. And Steve and Barbie, you're muted. There you go.
There we go. Thanks a lot. Did I recall? I recall that I think there was a city that already had put together an ordinance, Miami Beach, something like that. Have we looked at that? Are we incorporating some of that? Like was that used as some of the front end work, or?
Actually, the committee looked at the ordinances from various communities that was provided by the city attorney, and Leanne Barber, who is also a member of the committee, is very, very familiar with that. I cannot tell you right now if some of the points in the other ordinances from around the South Florida are incorporated in this one, because I haven't read this one yet. So as soon as I read it, I will be able to answer that question. From what I looked at very briefly, I think we're taking a different approach than Miami. Miami put it in a separate ordinance. We are proposing, Dwayne is proposing to actually incorporate it into the ordinance that establishes the procurement policies of the city of Fort Lauderdale. Now, whether that's a good idea or a bad idea, I can't tell you until we've actually had a chance to sit down and talk about it. But that's the approach that he's taking.
Sounds good. I'm glad to hear you're on top of it and you're checking with other ones and all that. Good. I figured, just wanted to make sure. Thanks.
Okay, anybody have any other comments or questions on the P3 report?
Well, yeah, like Marilyn did say, we there are other ones in Dayton throughout the state that we did look at, and we had instructed Dwayne to look at some of those when they come up with this. This is an important thing, guys. This is, in my opinion, this is really important for us to keep engaged on, all the membership, because all these deals that come through that that we have concerns about, we need to put a process through to make it more open and transparent. So I applaud you. By the way, Mary and Marilyn, you guys are doing a fantastic job. I can't thank you enough for taking the lead on this.
We'll give Marilyn a lot of credit for this, and but thank you for that. And I see, Rick, you have your hand up. Rick Buchanan.
Yeah, I was just going to say, again, Marilyn and the committee, thanks a lot for your efforts. And not having a chance to read the ordinance and having been an attorney for 40 plus years before I retired and moved to Florida, it would be helpful perhaps for the community to have a different timeline for unsolicited proposals versus proposals that the city set out for bid. In that way, proposals that the city set out for bid, people would be on notice because they would see the bid process. But in an unsolicited proposal, and that's really where I think the concern comes, that people don't really know, and it's almost like, who do you know who gave you an inside track to blah, blah, blah. So that was the only thing that I was thinking. And again, without reading the ordinance, I can't say, but that might be something, Marilyn, that you all, if it isn't in there, that you all might bring to the city attorney. And it does, final thing, it does make sense to have it in the procurement process, because if you read the beginning, it's both for filling needs that the city has to buy or sell goods as well as property, but it also has the process for construction, renovation, or updating to existing properties.
Thank you, Rick. I hope we can count on you with your expertise to take a look at it. Take a look at it and send Mary your comments. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that from everybody. As we all know, there are P3s that we love and P3s that we don't love and wonder where in the world they came from. For instance, and which gets pointed out to me every once in a while by my friend Jim Buchanan, the executive airport. If I'm thinking of this correctly, all those hangars and airport activities are on city-owned land, and they are really P3s also. And that's been very successful. It's been a little bit disconcerting the last couple of years with what we, park space suddenly being, absconded by a P3 when nobody even knew was something that was going to happen. So yeah, it's some are good and some are very upsetting. Depends on who you are.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Marilyn, and thank you, get your committee together and, we'll move from there. And this is when I miss Christina Curry, because she's an attorney. She could have looked at this and told me what this really means. So,
I'm sure Rich will do a good job too.
yes, there you go. There we go. All right. All right, Marilyn, I'm going to take your duties away. And Leanne is not available until about 7:30. So I'm gonna go ahead with some council business until a little bit, for about the next 5 minutes, because it's not too complicated. Oh, Bill Brown, I see you have your hand raised. I'm sorry, I just saw it.
Mary, going back to the P3, if in fact it is going to be discussed at the conference meeting, would it be advisable for this organization to ask for at least a 30-day before they schedule it, if they move forward on the regular commission agenda to vote on, to give us time to review it in our committee to fairly, so they just don't do it as a walk-on item that night or the next meeting?
I don't think that's unreasonable.
I'll stand behind that, Bill. Yeah, I'll champion that. I don't think that, let me double check. I'm pretty sure that it's in conference. And I don't think, by experience, once you prove it, it's going to take, the legal department does not work that fast. I think it's going to be several meetings before we get it on. And they're going to tweak it and move it a little bit. So I think we are going to have time, but I do not want it to come that night without us looking at it. Okay, that's a very good point. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, because Commissioner, I don't know if you've seen the resolution or not, but it's drafted in legal form. So this legal has pretty much put it in legal form, other than any tweaking that comes out of the conference meeting.
Okay,
or changes. Yeah.
Let me call them right now. I might be able to get you an answer sooner rather than later. I'll get right back.
Thank you.
Okay. I neglected our Fort Lauderdale police, and I feel kind of bad. I think did he leave? Oh, Joshua. Okay. All right. So we have amongst us here, and Joshua, forgive me. I'm sorry. I kind of lose track a little bit in these meetings. But Joshua, is it Reach? Is that how you say your last name?
So it's pronounced Rich, but thank you for having me. It's been nice to kind of get some insight as to what's going on or outside of my little part of the city and what goes on around here.
All right. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself and announce I think you got promoted. I mean, maybe you've been a sergeant all along. He is a sergeant, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So just for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Joshua Rich. I've been working here at the department for about almost a decade now. Most of that time was spent on patrol as a training officer and a narcotics canine handler. I recently got promoted. Spent a little bit more time directing the patrol, mostly in the southeast and southwest of the city for a year, and then most recently in the northeast. But right now, I know the police districts and the commission districts are separate, so I'll kind of just use the directional things to help us out here. I'm in charge of the community support unit for Police District 1, which is mostly anything that's in Northeast Fort Lauderdale and Fort Lauderdale Beach. So my job is to interact, kind of be the community facing member of that area and address any special concerns and attend meetings like this, just so I can hear what y'all good folks have to say and what we can work on. And if there's anything we can do, just let us know. We'll put I'll put my information down in the comments here. If anybody wants to speak with me separately, I know you guys seems like you got a lot going on tonight. So I don't actually, maybe this is a slow night, I'm not sure. But I'll put my information down there in the comments. So if anybody has any questions at all, either I can get back to you on them or I can direct you in the right to the right person. So if it's not quite me, maybe it'll be another community support unit from a different district, police district, or maybe another department inside the city that I can help make a connection with. But besides that, if y'all have any other questions while we're waiting for, I forgot the person's name that you were waiting for, Mary. Go ahead. I'm ready.
Mary, I'm gonna have to jump off in a second, but I have an answer for your question right now. I spoke to the city attorney. My apologies. Just going back to the P3, and then I'm gonna jump off. It's not going to be in the meeting. It's going to be in conference. There is no way that it's going to come up as a walk-on. It will not. They're going to get input. They're going to bring it back for a later meeting to in final form. This is draft only. It will not be coming up for a vote on Tuesday. That's the final word. Okay, Bill. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, guys, I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you, Commissioner. And, okay, so Joshua, if you haven't met Fred, who's got his hand raised, he, is the president of the Galt, Association. So he's in your district. So go ahead, Fred.
A question, Joshua, are you the commander of District 1?
No, I'm a sergeant in charge of the community support unit. But if you have want me to put you in contact with our captain, Captain Selfo, I believe we've had either email contact or, I know some of my officers that work directly for me, Officer Herring and Officer Negron Rodriguez, I believe. I've seen some emails go back and forth. I've been looking forward to when your all's meeting comes up so I can go out and shake your hand and meet you in person. But if there's anything I can do for you tonight, or if you need me to pass along a connection, I'd be more than glad to do that for you.
Yeah, I don't wish to dump on your parade tonight. Don't take this personally. But we had a crisis in the middle of July, a homeless crisis on the Gulf. We got an influx of homeless people. We had an assault on a business person. And so we brought in major efforts, the county, the city, to try and control this problem and get ahead of it. And we've had great cooperation, great support. My major complaint as a neighborhood president is I got no feedback from the police department, the Port Lauderdale Police Department. I contacted my city commissioner. He must have forwarded it. Somebody called me for like 2 minutes. And then I got another email from the deputy chief just saying we're working on it, but nothing concrete I can share with neighbors. And, we're a very concentrated neighborhood. And we've always had homeless people in our neighborhood, but with the influx and the violence that we've had, and since the middle of July, I feel like, my residents are saying, where's the police department? We don't see them. Where are they? And I can't give them feedback. And I told the officer, I'm not looking for a daily report. I'm not looking for an hourly report or who did you talk to? But I'd like at least some kind of verbal reports that I can give to my owners. And, we do have the neighborhood support group, the officers who come to our meeting. But the last time they came, they talked about 4 or 5 break-ins. And that was their whole report. And I raised the question, what about the person who was arrested for killing someone right across the street? There was nothing about that. What about the person who was mugged? What about the person who was 3 or 4 incidents like that? And so my residents, my owners are saying, well, it looks like the police are covering up everything. Now, I know there are sensitive things you sometimes can't talk about. And I'm sorry to do this to you tonight, but I just get a sense of frustration because we're just not getting any kind of feedback. Getting feedback from the library, getting feedback from the county, getting feedback from our city commissioner, our mayor, the county, but we're not hearing anything from the police department. So if you said to me, some of my residents said to me, what has the police done since the middle of July? I'd have to say, I'm sure they did something, but I don't know what it is. And that's not positive for the police department.
You lock that up.
So Mary,
Can you tell difference?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and answer Mr. Nesbitt. If there's at any point you need to just kind of tell me to wrap it up, just give me the sign here.
Go ahead and answer.
So Mr. Nesbitt, and just for everybody else as well. So I've been in this position for about this is my 3rd week, I believe.
Okay.
And I'm coming off of supervising the midnight shift in your area. So a lot of these scenes I were a part of, I don't know if there was a homicide down there, or I believe it went down as a stand your ground situation right there at Los Olas and A1A. And then I was on scene for, we had those incidents up at the hotels right up there by the Galt as well. I know certainly nobody's covering anything up. I can promise you that as much as I would love to say that we had the organizational control to do that, we certainly don't have the commitment to secrecy to have any of that happen, sir. So I can promise you nobody's trying to cover anything up. I know those persons were from out of town, and in reference to that homicide specifically, homicide and violent crime in general can be tough. It's one thing if it's a violent crime that's associated with a property crime, meaning like, so there's a violent robbery of some sort, that can be somewhat random. But when it comes to just straight up, violent crime, that is usually a very personal situation. And as such, with that homicide, there was really no connection to the city with either the victim or the offender in that situation at all. So I wouldn't, there was really no way to predict that was going to happen or any reason to believe anything like that would happen again in that area. When it comes to the break-ins as well, I would say that all the condominiums up there on the Galt do a really great job with their security guys having their eye on the camera of letting us know what's happening. We have our canine and patrol officers respond who are over there on midnight, so they're able to get there pretty quick. I believe they have a pretty good track record of catching the offenders that they can, would be feasibly possible when looking back on it to see what's going on. Other than that, when we see a trend, we try to address it. And what else was it? I'm just looking at my list. I was taking some notes while you were writing down. In terms of the contact, I certainly apologize for that. I can do better. Like I said, I'm new here, but that being said, I know we're busy, but that's never an excuse not to get back to you. So we'll certainly endeavor to do better about that in the future. And I left the what you termed the homeless crisis for last, because I don't know if for anybody else that's in the Northeast, if I haven't gotten around to your HOA yet, it hasn't come up on the calendar. I certainly intend, unless we got like 3 at the same time, to be at all of them when it's feasible. Almost every call I get is about this. Now, I coming in not really having any experience with this in the past, I kind of thought it would be a little bit more of the speeding complaints, and we do get some of those. We work on them, and we usually work in conjunction with the motor unit, the motorcycle guys as well. However, I will tell you that almost every call that I get in my district is about what I would term, like a nuisance vagrant situation. You'd call it a homeless crisis, but I just like to be very clear that I kind of consider it 2 categories of people: those that are residentially challenged and trying to find help. The county and the city certainly has plenty of resources and programs and officers out there. We have our own homeless outreach team that is going out there trying to talk to those individuals. I don't really, that's not who I'm talking about when I'm going to address this. I'm addressing either those that are residentially challenged committing crimes, or those posing as residentially challenged in some sort of way and are committing crimes. And I will tell you that, yes, it's a problem. Yes, almost every call I get on it in our district, whether it's up by Cypress Creek and Federal Highway, down at Oakland Park and Fed, the Gateway, the beach, same thing. I've met with the city attorney to try to see if we can figure out some way to get some harsher charges or more jail time for our habitual offenders. Our personal city attorney, since most of these things would fall under misdemeanors, the follow-up with the detective unit on the felonies, they certainly do that, and those cases are built and they do take a while to go through. But in terms of the misdemeanor stuff, where it's most of what's happening when it comes to, well, why wouldn't the police arrest that person, something like that, falls under misdemeanors, which our own city prosecutors attend to. So I've met with them. They have a relationship with their judge that they mostly deal with. However, we run into some problems when it comes to the overall county. This is just my personal position after doing some research and having some meetings over the last few weeks, that the real problem comes into resources versus the other side of the justice system on what's occurring. I know, what was it, Rick? We got a lawyer over here. I don't know if he was involved in criminal or some kind of civil action, but when so we're all on the same page here. Typically what happens when you get arrested is we'll arrest you, we'll search you, we'll take you for processing, and then we'll take you to the county jail. Now that's the same everywhere in Florida. It's written, you know, the sheriff, one of their duties is to run the county jail. They typically stay there overnight, and then they have what's called a first appearance in the morning. Now, of course, we don't hold people indefinitely when they get arrested for a crime, because the police can be wrong, and they get either assigned a bond or they get released on their own recognizance. Hope I'm saying that right. I know we're being recorded.
I'm gonna ask you to wrap it up here in just a minute, because I see somebody else has a question, but you know, if you can just finish
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Sorry. So real quick. So basically the problem is it's the number of officers that we have. Our city's growing rapidly. We're very much trying to, and it's not just patrol, it's detectives, it's everything. We are doing our very best, and we will continue to and try to efficiently deploy our resources to help you out and target those issues. The communication I could certainly do better on, but part of our issue is, and if I can get this out, Mary, I apologize if I know I'm long-winded, is that there's a policy in the county where all misdemeanor and third-degree felonies are released on their own recognizance prior to a first appearance, which basically means that the entire county of Broward gets to arrest people and bring them to Fort Lauderdale, where they get their picture taken and their fingerprints done, and then they're walking around downtown. Now that becomes a real issue with us, because it's extremely difficult to keep hold of the situation where maybe not much. This happened about a year and a half ago. It's publicly available on the 17th Circuit's website, the order that was done in 2022 in March. I see Mr. Jean is nodding his head here. It's publicly available, and essentially what it did is it allowed the rest of the county, they might not have noticed the difference when this first appearance thing went away, but we certainly have. And if anybody's noticed that it's gotten worse in the last 2 years, it's because it has. And we're trying our best to take care of it. I promise you are. And we're trying to come up with new ways to attack the problem as each day passes. That's what I do. But I'm not trying to sit here and tell you, Mr. Nesbitt, that we're succeeding or that we're doing a great job right now. I can tell you that we're trying our hardest, and we'll continue to do so. And you know, if you'd like, I'll give you a call later on this week so we can talk a little bit more about it. But it's absolutely a problem, something that I'm addressing, and I can wrap it up with that, Mary. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. And we have a couple other hands raised. Dennis, why don't you go ahead?
Yes, I just wanted to say that before Sergeant Rich was promoted, he was in our district and came to Lauderdale Manors. He's an excellent police officer, very community oriented, and I'm very glad he got promoted. Nice to see you again.
You
too. Good to know. Good to know. And John Burns.
Yeah, my question, officer, is there some kind of written narrative that could be published to our neighbors that describes what the community support team does and when you should call them? Because we get presentations from some of the homeless outreach people, and we get presentations from the code enforcement, but quite frankly, I'm not sure, number one, if you want the general public calling the community support officer, or when they should call the community support officer. So I just think it would be helpful if there was some kind of narrative that we could distribute to our neighbors.
Absolutely. Anybody interested in that? I'm sorry, I'm still gathering everybody's contact information. So I wish I had just like a blast out list, and maybe Mary, if I could send it to you, maybe you could blast it out. I'm trying, I don't want to put more, sorry, I don't mean to.
No, send it to me. So
I will write up something,
Yeah.
but by a general policy, just really quickly, if something's actively occurring and it's an emergency, absolutely call 911. Do not call your community service officer. That is the pipeline to get to the police. That is the fastest we're going to get there. Call 911. I don't care if your brother is a Fort Lauderdale police officer. If we don't know that he's working, you got to call 911. It's going to be a lot faster. If that situation also requires some kind of follow-up, or you just think it affects the community, by all means, you can contact me. I'll put my email down there below, and I'll put my phone number in there as well for y'all. I would ask that if any of your community members want to contact me, that they go kind of through you, not because I don't want to talk to them. It's just that way me and yourselves are all aware of what's happening in this situation, so you're not getting blindsided. But yes, so emergency, call 911. If not, and it needs follow-up, by all means call us, and we'll call you and either help you out or we'll direct you into which way to go.
Okay. And okay, Barbie, is it you or Steve? It's you, right? Go ahead.
Can you hear? Oh, wait a minute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's related to, the county, being that it's a county jail, is there any way that the city can work with the county to address the situation of them being released right there, that they be transported somewhere?
So, so yeah,
I don't
so
know that Sergeant has that kind of.
well,
Well,
I
you know,
definitely don't have the authority to get it done. That's for sure. That's more of a political question, but I will let you know that I had heard rumors of it being talked about. I don't know that any traction or immediate relief is coming in that manner, but I know at one point they were kind of talking about it. I just don't know if that ever got off the ground or what the legal situations are going on with that. If that ever is going to be possible. So thank you. That is, you're on it. That would be one of the ways to do it, but we're not there yet at this time.
the other idea is send them to Dade County Jail.
Junia, and you're muted, but your hand is up. If you're talking, I can't hear you.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
There you go. Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to share with Sergeant, I'm sending you an email right now regarding Fred Nesbitt's question and concern. I think he sent something over to Neighbor Support and the Commission office back in July, and you could see the discussion with the PD at the time, and you could just follow up on that and get back with Fred Nesbitt.
Absolutely, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sending it to you now.
I appreciate that. Just to let you know, normally I'd try to look right now, but we're having a little problem with the email, so it might be till tomorrow till I'm able to read it.
No, that's fine. I just want to let you know I'm sending you some history because I found it online. Thank you.
Thank you, Junia. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Junia. Okay, and last question is really from me. The next time I see you in person, I want you to show me that app that made your phone number go right into my phone.
Absolutely, I could do that too.
Okay. So, okay. Well, thank you, Sergeant. Appreciate your baptism by fire here. And
hey, I'm here for you guys. I'm sorry. We are trying our best. You got a lot of hardworking people here for you. And you know, if you all have any questions, please contact me. Thank you, Mary.
All right. Well, as everybody on here knows, I sent out a thing asking people to send me what their issues are with exactly homeless vagrants, I guess is the way to call it. Now I can put a label on that sort of issue.
And I'm not trying to avoid the question for anybody that wants to know. I would love to get with you guys in person so we can honestly, if we could have a little subcommittee or something, like a round table or something, I'd love to be a part of it because I'm actively, listen, I'm not here to just tell you guys we're working on it and move on.
Okay.
I would love to make a difference. So if we can, let's do it together, guys.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much for being here and waiting. I'm sorry I missed you earlier.
Oh, no problem. All right. Y'all have a great night. Thank you.
All right. You too, Sergeant. Thank you. Okay. Going forward with our agenda, I see that Leanne is on here. I'm going to make Jim Concanon the host so he can show your slide deck. And speaking of homeless, that's what we're about to discuss here. Hang on. See if I can do the right thing. Okay. And Leanne is just coming out of a meeting, and so she's on her phone in her car. So Jim is going to do the slide deck. And I've made you the host, Jim. So
yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so we'll give Jim a minute here. And Junia, you still have your hand up. I know you know. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for telling him that too. Appreciate it.
I'm working on the slide deck.
Okay.
Let me, while he's doing that, let me give you a little bit of background. So I I joined the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee for the city of Fort Lauderdale about, I don't know, 8 months ago. And it's been just really to educate myself and to see what was happening in in the homeless and the affordable housing space. And I was fortunate enough, along with Susan Sprague, to be funded to go to the state housing conference in Orlando in August. And it was great. It was unfortunately cut short because of the hurricane, but we had a lot of really good information there. And all of the presentations are available on the website. So, and so I can direct you to it if you're interested. We are putting together a presentation to go to the City Commission on October 17th, and it's really kind of a report from the Affordable Housing Committee to the Commission, and it's a joint meeting. It's not a workshop, it's a joint meeting. And so I've been working on this presentation for that purpose. And then when Mary and I had a conversation about, what I learned about what other counties are doing, I put this together for this meeting. And I think really, whenever you're ready,
I mean, Jim has it up. So can you not see it on your phone that he has it up? I don't know if you would.
That's great. So just the next slide. So all of the statistics about housing are available online. FIU has done extensive research, and this is something that's publicly available. But what I put this slide up to just show you that we have a problem. Okay, there's a big gap. There's a big gap in purchase homes, but there's an even bigger gap in rentals, especially in what is considered to be extremely low and very low income levels. And if you do the next slide, and these numbers are understated. The other really worrying trend is that Broward County is growing in terms of jobs, but the vast majority of the jobs are in the extremely low and low income categories. And so you've got a mismatch where you're extremely low, you're growing your extremely low income, at the same time you're shrinking your extremely low housing number of units. And that statement in red is also important because it says that we're losing extremely low and low income residents just through inflation, through property appreciation. And those of you that are on Nextdoor, you see it all the time. Every week there's somebody saying, I got turfed out of my house, it's getting changed to an Airbnb, and and I don't know where to go, and my rent's increased by $300, and so on and so on. So next slide. So this is not my conclusion. This is the conclusion from Broward County, and it's the source is that I can't read it, this is so small. Affordable Housing Commission. So you can just read this. So it's a recognizable problem. We have problems on all fronts. It's a growing problem because of the wage structure. It's impacting economic and social issues. You're seeing that with the very, very low income home people now no longer able to live anywhere. They think that it requires an immediate focus on rental housing preservation and production. And it warrants making it a top policy priority. And policy is a little bit different than funding because, there are things you can do with policy that don't take a lot of money, but can have an impact on the number of housing units you have. And that it will require public and private capital investment. Okay, next slide. So this is how it manifests itself in social issues. This is the Broward County Community Analysis for the Continuum of Care. That's sort of their kind of homeless task force group that measures number of people in various situations. And this is a recent analysis. This is September 1st of 2022 to September 1st of 2023. So very, very recent. And it says, it says we have a 28,000 unit rental gap for extremely low income generators, and that's creating social issues. And some of the, they had served 11,000 people during the year that year, 7,400 were homeless situations. 2,900 were chronically homeless, meaning it's more than a year. And then some of that was coming up with what the sergeant was saying previously. There are people that are chronically homeless that have no income whatsoever, and they've kind of become outside of the social norms, but they're kind of, they're like, there isn't really a place for them in our society, and that's contributing to these problems. And you can see that and there's a racial element to it. You can read they had managed to house a certain number of people, but what is it? It was 18%. It's a small percentage
11,000
of the need. Yeah. Okay, next slide. When we turn it to Fort Lauderdale, you'll see the numbers are very similar. And they're actually a little bit higher than average, but not radically higher than average. And to me, the main question that we have to ask as community leaders and taxpayers is, who should receive assistance? There is, not on this slide, but the city of Fort Lauderdale has a budget of about $10 to $12 million a year for affordable housing initiatives. Most of that's grant funded. Okay, that's not coming out of the city's budget. That's money that's coming from the state or from HUD to address some of these issues. And so that to me is, you've got 10 or $12 million to spend. Who should receive the assistance? Is it homeowners, renters, homeless? Because those are really three kind of different categories. Those that can work, those that cannot work. Homeless people there's distinct categories of homelessness, right? There's the guy that makes $35,000 or $40,000 a year, but he just got evicted because his landlord's turning it into an Airbnb. He's a lot easier. It's rapid rehousing might be appropriate for somebody like that, because he can very easily pay rent if he can just find a place to live, because he's already gainfully employed, or he has employable skills. There are a lot of people, and if you looked at that previous slide, there were thousands of people who haven't worked, that aren't working, either because they can't, or there's no jobs, or whatever, for whatever reason. They're chronically unemployed. And sometimes, I met a guy one day, he was 68 years old. Do you really expect him to be working 4 times? He had a Social Security pension of $350 a year. So, and do we help the elderly, disabled, incapacitated veterans, etc.? Next slide. Key point is, who qualifies for assistance? With all of this assistance that we provide, almost all of it is you have to qualify for it, especially in the housing realm, but it also is true for food stamps and a lot of this public assistance. You have to qualify. And so there's it's almost all based on income. And there's something called the AMI, the area median income, or there's something called it's the same thing. I can't remember what it's called now. It's the same thing. It's a median income. So they take a number for Fort Lauderdale right now. It happens to be $67,200 at household income. And then they say that if you look at some of our various affordable housing projects around town, of which there are quite a few, they say they're affordable housing, but actually they have a grid that tells you how many units are at what level. So it's not just affordable housing. It's going to be affordable housing 28%, 50%. It could be affordable housing that's 120% of AMI. So there is actually government funded or subsidized housing that is available to people that make $94,000 a year. But that's 47 an hour for household. Okay, now it might be two people both making $20 an hour. So it's quite, there's a broad spectrum of assistance that we're already giving to different types of people. And the lowest we give is 28%, which is $10 an hour, basically. Then what a lot of people try to do, if they're unemployed and they can't get a job, they try to get on Social Security, SSI. They try to get on Social Security disability. If they're disabled, then they can apply for disability. But what that gives them is whatever their Social Security would have been at age 65, or FRA, full retirement age. So if you don't have a good pension through Social Security because you haven't worked a lot, then what Social Security does is tries to give you SSI, which is supplemental security income. The max supplemental security income is $914 a month. And there are a lot of people that can get that, but it can take years to get through their bureaucracy. And you have to have a recognized mental illness or a recognized physical disability or whatever. And and that's basically $5.50 an hour equivalent. You can't buy a lot of housing for that rate. And what I've been finding is that if you go around to a lot of these housing projects, they have minimums that say you can't that make it so that you can't qualify if your only income is SSI. And there's also even some legislation that's now said that a landlord can deny you even if you can pay the rent if your income is coming from disability or whatever. They can deny you. So that's a worry too as well. So the message here is what is somebody supposed to do when they find themselves in this situation? Next slide.
And Leanne, only because I know that there's a lot in here, we can just move along a little bit, get a lot of good information, but
yeah, I'll speed it up. So this kind of gives you a sense of what we currently, or what's not in bold is what we currently do, and what we could potentially add is in bold. And to me, that's a discussion that we have to have. Some of these things are policy discussions, like allowing people to have accessory dwelling units, little sheds in their backyard, basically. Some of it requires more funding. Next slide. And here's my conclusion in terms of what we should do. And then I've got some examples of what some other people are doing. I'm saying, look at what other cities are doing. I was kind of surprised at Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville. They're doing quite a bit in this realm. And then I think it's prioritizing our spending and setting goals based on different criteria. All these things are important. I get home ownership preservation is important, and the city of Fort Lauderdale does a pretty good job of helping homeowners assistance when their house is starting to become dilapidated, for example. They're doing home ownership creation. They're helping Habitat for Humanity build new homes so that people can experience home ownership, and that's a great way to build the community. There's other things, and so I think we've been kind of focused on homelessness because we're seeing the manifestation of that problem when people are really at the very, very bottom. But I think it's up to us to provide some leadership to our city manager and commission in terms of how they should spend their budget and whether or not they should go after additional funding. Next slide. And the next slide. So I'm going to go through these quickly. This is just an example of what that AMI means. When you've got this is a new affordable housing project, Gallery and Flagler Village. It's being done by a related group. It's 263 units, but 114 are market rate, and 97 are 120% AMI. So It's not for the extremely low or low income person. Next slide. Okay, ADU. This is an example. Accessory dwelling unit is you basically drop an extra building in your backyard. It has an advantage of boosting, could potentially boost rent income, could create income for a homeowner who's struggling to pay their mortgage. It does create density. There's been issues about doing, parking, no parking, whatever. But it's a solution, and this is a company that drops in places like this. Next slide. And there's lots of them that are doing this. Next slide. Okay, these slides right now, there's 3 or 4 slides. This is Tampa. So Catholic Charities has done a camp in Pinellas County and in Tampa. And these are all the things they partner with. But Tampa has, they've got tents. They started, I don't know, they started years ago, but they did it with the COVID. They have tents, and then they have shipping containers in one site. They've got these pallet shelter small houses in the other site. Next slide. Yeah, next slide. And this just gives you some examples. 235 cost $2 million a year. But they do some nice things. They do case management, counseling. They do respite care. So if you were in the hospital, you were in a car crash or something, you coming out of the hospital today in Broward County, you're stuffed. There's really no place to go. Here, you can go to this respite care facility and stay there until until you're healed. Next slide. And then Tampa is newly started. This is going to cost them about $3 million a year when they're at capacity, and some of the services they're providing. Next slide. This is a good slide that they say that they think that that's a really good solution because they think it costs them about $7 a day, $7 or $8 a day to keep people in that kind of an environment versus, in jail or in some of these other, motels, whatever. Next slide. This is just another example. This is in Oakland Park. It's partnering with a church. There's always the issue about where you're going to get land from. There's a way, for cities to encourage partnerships with churches. That's still in its planning stages. Next slide. This I thought was interesting. Miami-Dade County we have 10 to 12 million in budget. Now that's not Broward County, that's Fort Lauderdale. And I don't know exactly what the Broward budget is. I need to get that. But Miami-Dade County has an $80 million budget, primarily, for homeless services and housing. And most of it's it's coming from HUD, but it's also coming from a bed tax. They have a tax on hotel beds and restaurant bills for big restaurants. And I've been told, Broward can't do it. It was a one-off thing. But, that's a policy change at the state level that allows them to do it. And they're collecting a lot of money. Next slide. And this is how they're spending it. Next slide. And the other thing I think is really important is Miami-Dade seemed to really be good on their metrics. And so they were showing how they have brought down these problems, the point in time of bed inventories over a period of 10 years or so. And you can see as their beds went up, their homeless situation went down. And I think we really need to measure these things. There's an old saying, you get what you measure. We're not really measuring that. I've tried to find out how many shelter beds do we have, and it's really kind of a fuzzy number. So they're building shelter beds and they're building permanent supportive housing beds, which is I'll explain that a little bit later. Keep going. Next slide. Okay, permanent supportive housing. This is you know, we talk about, oh, these people don't want to live in a apartment, right? And they're chronic drug addicts and so on. There's this thing called permanent supportive housing that's been developed to deal with folks that are so far gone that they're really, you know, they've really become antisocial and need to be supported. And so there was a pilot project that was funded, and you can read what some of the things that was done. It was Duval County, Miami-Dade, those numbers, and Pinellas County again. A couple of counties that seem to be kind of on the ball. Next slide. And these are the things that they did in each of these locations. And they had a college, a university attached to each one to measure outcomes, right? To see what it was like. Next slide. What they found, what they say, is the healthcare costs went down dramatically and the criminal justice costs went down dramatically. Okay. Now, kind of stands to reason. The next slide. And that they said that there was a tangible savings to the community by providing this housing. And you know, it makes sense. People are not going to the emergency room maybe because they're getting preventative care and all of those things. Next slide. This is just another little example of live work. You know, we have a lot of issues with people that can't work, don't want to work. You know, what's the real reason there? And so Tampa has a farm where you live there and you work there. And maybe it's a way to get some people back on the track. Next slide. Back. Next. Next slide. Is that it? Oh, that's it.
That's it. That's it.
So I hope that was helpful. And you know, all of these slides could be a 20-minute discussion, but I wanted to give you an overview that there are measurable solutions out there. And the question really is, what problem do we want to, you know, what problem do we want to address, to what extent?
And Leanne, let me ask you, you said you're presenting this to the commission, and when is that you're doing that?
17th. It's a public forum. It's a joint session. It's not at the conference agenda. It's just a joint session. And really, the idea is to get the commission to look at something like ADUs, to get them to be more supportive of that, and to, you know, even promote it as a program. Look at other sources of funding. What I didn't show here is there were lots and lots and lots of different programs out there that fund various and sundry things. And you know, I think our housing group, our affordable housing department, does an excellent job at managing the state and federal funds that they get. You know, they really try hard to stretch their dollars and help different people in crisis, but they're not really tasked with addressing the bigger need.
Correct. All right, let me, did anybody have any questions for Leanne? If you can raise your hand, I can see it. Okay. Oh, Dennis, go ahead. And you gotta unmute yourself.
When you say this is going to be a joint meeting, is it going to be like at 11:30 before the conference meeting?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's at noon, and it's at the Broward Center for Performing Arts.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, unfortunately, I'm out of town. I won't be able to go. I would like to be on the road. So if anybody would like to go to this, I think it would be a smart idea. And so, Leanne, would we be able to put this slide deck on our website, or would you rather that we not? It's your creation.
I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind.
Okay, I'm not sure how we, Jim and I can talk about it. I don't know if Jim, you can put a PowerPoint on your on our website or not. But there's a lot in this. I was looking at it earlier today, and she is right. You could talk about any one of these slides for quite some time. But I think, yeah, I think it's
I can put it up there, Mary.
okay. All right, great. Thank you, Leanne, so much. I really appreciate this. It's a load of information. And I hope that, I'm sorry I won't be here, and I hope the commission takes heart as to all this information you put together. And okay, thank you. Okay, so
You have a question, Mary?
oh yeah, go ahead, Christopher.
Hi, it's Christopher Leonard. Between the sergeant and the lady that just presented, I understand the concerns, that were presented. I formerly was an employee of the city of Fort Lauderdale, and just like observation wise, I think with the presentation, right, there was a lot that was brought from the national, or the state, what's going on. I think a little bit more understanding of what the city is doing currently, I think would be helpful in kind of sending them the message in request. And like, so Broward County has their own point in time count. They have their own amount of beds. And so kind of understanding the local data, I think could go a long way when it is delivered to commission. And then officer wise to the sergeant, I think a lot was left out of the conversation about like community court and its role and whatnot. And so I know he's just coming into that role. But those are two major things because, I listened to both presentations. And so maybe it's not a question, but I kind of just wanted to add that, because I feel like I've been away from the city for a year or two now. And so it felt like that there was a lot missing from like what locally is being done.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And kind of hard to cover everything with this subject in a meeting like this. So that I hear what you're saying. And almost everybody on here is aware of what community court is, if not everyone. But I appreciate what you have to say. And Junie, I see you have your hand up too.
Hi, Mary. Just wanted to share with everyone that this week, the Homeless Advisory Board will be having their first meeting this week. So it's a good opportunity for folks to join in this first meeting or future meeting to kind of give your input and provide possibly some advice and suggestions on how this board can move forward. The first meeting is scheduled for this Thursday at 1 p.m. at FXC at Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport at 1 p.m. So just wanted to throw that out there. Lisette is is part of the discussion here as well. Our program manager for homeless. She's the lead when it comes to community court. And thanks, Chris. Chris, you're forever family. Even if you're no longer with the city, you're forever family. And pointing out community court and all the efforts the city is doing and the projects. So I'm inviting everyone to come on to one of the Homeless Advisory Board meetings. Okay. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. And I did not know that it was this week.
Yes, it's this Thursday, the 12th. At 1 p.m. and I will make sure you have the agenda if you don't already to share it with anyone who's available to attend.
Can I be notified of when these meetings are like I am all these other meetings? I didn't know. I can't go because I have something else already happening, and I would like really to appoint a liaison from the council to be responsible, maybe two of them, to go to those meetings. But yeah, we need to know a little bit more than 2 days beforehand. Because
okay, All right, I'll make sure Lisette includes CFLCA, well, includes you in the monthly meetings.
Okay, that'd be great. And I can request other people be added too, but that would be super.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, glad to see that's getting going. And hello, Lisette. I didn't realize you were on I can't see everybody on here, but good to know you're here. And
Hi, I'm here.
all right, you heard all that. So
I did. Thanks, Jania, for doing that. So I look forward to seeing many of you on Thursday. Mary, I definitely I wasn't even aware of this meeting. So I'll definitely put you on the rotation for the upcoming meetings.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Council business. I think we can wrap this up because we've talked about so many of these things already. I have the membership roster on there just because I want people to know I have updated it, and everybody is always welcome to attend any council meeting, but civic associations that haven't paid for their dues this year, you'll notice if we manage to be in person again, we call the roll call out loud. You won't be called if you haven't paid your dues or be able to vote. So I just want to let you know we have 42 civic associations, well actually 41 civic associations and one like business association as current up-to-date paid members. And then the next two things on the agenda we already did. Again, Vanessa and Donna, hang in there. Thank you. They have, if you weren't on the call when they were not officially nominated, and there were motions to vote on their nomination. That happened, and they are on board the board now. Now the next thing, homeless responses. I'm not gonna. We've talked a lot about homeless tonight. As many of you know, probably most of you, I did send out a request to council presidents and representatives on alts about, let me know about what homeless situations you're having that are causing a problem in a neighborhood. And I guess as Sergeant Rich put it, it would be vagrant homeless or appearing to be vagrant homeless. And I got 22 responses, and daily I keep getting more, and I'm adding them to them. They were sent to the mayor and the commissioners and the city manager, and all those that responded, they received it, and to the board. So if anybody wants to see what I've compiled so far, I'm always happy to send it to you. But I do think I'll send it to Sergeant Rich too. But they probably know better than anybody. So I want to thank everybody that sent me that, and it's not like a dead document. It's going to go out quite a bit. Then a little happier note on October 30th. Don't forget, please put it on your calendar. We have our third social of the year. It's at Luigi's on Las Olas Boulevard. You'll be getting a flyer about it. I went there to talk to Luigi and then have some of his food, and it is out of this world. So, come, it's on the council. We give you one drink, and then you got to buy whatever else you want to drink, be it, wine, beer, or soda or water. And it's going to be on the beautiful terrace that they have that's right on Las Olas, overlooking the Himmershey Canal. Don't make fun of the canal. It's nice looking. And parking on Las Olas, sometimes can be dicey, but behind it, or on the north side of Luigi's, there's a parking garage that you enter off the street behind it. I think it's 12th Court. And there's plenty of parking in there. You have to pay for it. So bring your money or make sure you have the app for it. I'll put that all on the flyer. Any questions about anything I'm going through real quick? Nope. Okay, the Charter Review Board, I'm going to make this quick. Jim was not able to go, so I took his place. The things that were discussed and that were on the agenda, the first thing was different forms of city government. I thought it was really interesting how they work and who has them, and not which one is better or not. I thought it was very interesting. I have put in a request, and Junia helped me, for that speaker who is a professor at FAU to come to our next council meeting, just to explain what they are, because I think it's very interesting. I don't know if the Charter Review Board is going to suggest some other form of government. I kind of wouldn't think so, but I think it's interesting for everybody to know, just in case that happens, what they are. And the guy does a good presentation. Wasn't that complicated. Even I could understand it. But it was good. The other thing they talked about was the residence requirements for commissioners and the mayor and the city manager. Went over the city manager's requirement for his residential requirements quite a bit. You can see the YouTube recording of that meeting on the city's YouTube account. It's quite a long meeting. They went over various other ordinances, which it really has kind of caused me to like make a little packet of the city's ordinances, like probably should know them. So it's interesting. Again, you can see the recording on the city's YouTube channel. And we have meeting dates for next year. I think Jim has them, but if not, we're going to start putting them on the website so that people know when they are. Try to be very careful in that they don't coincide with a commission meeting or any holiday. So I have sent them out to the board. I haven't heard anything back that there's anything amiss, but if any of you see anything that's going to be a problem, we don't have a meeting on election day or, Memorial Day or Thanksgiving or Christmas or Passover or any of those days that I can see. So I think we're pretty good. Let's see. Did everybody should have received the minutes from the last meeting? They were in the flyer that went out. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes?
Motion to accept.
Okay, motion by Bill Brown to accept the minutes. We have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes stand as they have been presented.
Mary, who's second? Was it Jim?
Yeah, it was Jim.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
okay.
You're welcome.
Next we have the treasury report. Jim, I think I have to make Melinda the host. Come on, Mary, you know how to do this.
Mary, while you're doing that, could I just, on behalf of the council, thank Dennis for not only last month, but this month in pitching in and telling him what a great job he did. And thanks again for helping.
I thank you for bringing that up. And, God bless Dennis because, he just stepped in, at a moment's notice and did this. And, it's not an easy job to be the recording secretary, but don't tell Donna that, although she probably knows. It's hard. It's a lot of work. So
Thank you.
We do appreciate it, Dennis. And thank you for bringing that up, Rick. I do appreciate that. So with that, Melinda, I made you the host if you want to go ahead and bring up the treasurer's report.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mary. So should be, I'm just scrolling, but you guys should see the treasurer's front page now.
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, just since my last report, we really haven't had changes in the balances. Our Truist account is at $6,143.30. The council PayPal account at $1,128.28 for a total in of our total funds of $7,271.58. And we are, this, as I always do, this is backed up by something that Mary mentioned, which is our membership listing of voting members for this year. We are now in fiscal year 24, will end March 31st, 24. I update this, it's every 2 weeks because we also have a board meeting during the month as well as a membership meeting. We've got 43 associations that have actually paid us. Not all of them necessarily are voting members. There are an additional, what I've put here in the new format is by district, the associations that are recognized by the city that have not paid their membership yet. This is a total of 20. And then there is a total of 23 associations that have not paid their membership, but that are also not recognized by the city. So that is just a reminder to those of you who need to contact the city. It's a very easy process to be recognized. There's certain paperwork you need to provide. But that is the state of affairs of our organization, and I'll take any comments or questions. Okay.
We're good. Melinda,
right.
as always, thank you for this excellent report. I mean, really excellent. And you
Welcome.
know, Melinda created this. I mean, this is all her doing this. So I really appreciate it. Really helps me for sure. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Okay. And just to wrap up a couple things, one of the reasons that we are doing these meetings by Zoom is I haven't really found a good place to have meetings. I loved having the meetings at the Y. They were great. It was a great venue. Parking was a little tough. I recognize that, but it cost us way too much money, and I didn't want to be the president that made the council go bankrupt. That would be bad. So that's why we're doing this by Zoom for now. We are looking at 2 venues on Thursday that might work out. One we have permission to use. I just don't think it's big enough. Although we have at the most tonight we had 33 people, so 34 people, so something to consider. It would work for that. So we'll see. We'll see what we do. And hopefully the city gets some space at some point. Yes, Dennis, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that Sergeant Rich, I had said hello to him and he didn't change it. He sent the message to me. So I put it in the chat, his contact information. I just wanted to make sure everybody saw it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And okay, and then lastly, the last couple of months, I've been getting copied on letters that different civic associations have sent their commissioner, sometimes all the commissioner, but pretty much their own commissioner, about lobbyists on city advisory boards and how they do not want them to be lobbyists to be allowed on city advisory boards. Right now, by ordinance, they are allowed to be on there, and we do have a couple that are on boards. So I'd like to know from you all, you know, how you feel or how your association feels about lobbyists on city advisory boards. I'd appreciate it because, you know, there's some, I hear some, you know, valid things and, you know, but I don't know everything. So I would like to hear from any of you if you have any thoughts or take it back to your organizations and bring it up and let me know how they feel. And JJ.
So we did bring that up at our board of director meeting, not the last one, but the one before that. And it was like a big debate going back and forth. And ultimately kind of what came up was, well, you know, if you are in business, but you are you're trying to help people out outside of your arena. For example, you're a developer and you want to help somebody in education. What is wrong with that? Now, you know, if you're a builder and you want to be working on a task force that does development, that may be a different issue. So it really depended. It was not like an absolute yes or no. It was more depends on what you want to be working on. I guess, I hope it made sense.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and that makes sense. It's the only trouble is that subjective. Who's going to decide? And the guy that's a developer being on an education task force might be looking to like build schools. I don't know. So you know, you just don't know. So if your organization has any thoughts on it, I'd like to hear about it. If it's really, because I keep hearing the drumbeat, and I just kind of like to know if it's a real concern out there. Okay.
Mary, Bill Brown.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
I think it's important to point out to the group that this has also been discussed at the commission level. And it's just not neighborhood presidents. There's some concerns with commissioners as well to this issue. So I just want everyone to be aware it's just not neighborhood presidents or neighborhoods, but it's members of the commission is also.
Well, that's true. That was brought up at the last conference meeting, I think. And yeah, I mean, I was actually kind of surprised about the fact that there were lobbyists on advisory boards, to be honest with you. So just give it some thought and let me know what you guys think or what your association thinks. Like JJ just said, kind of went back and forth.
But don't the commissioners and the mayor nominate people on these on the advisory boards?
Oh yeah, they appoint.
So why are they surprised that there's lobbyists if they the ones who nominated them?
Well, realize we do have 3 brand new commissioners. Yeah, there is that, and I think there might be some situations where it's coming to a head where there's a problem.
Yeah.
So that's
and there's personal agendas that it's not even a lobbyist, it's personal agendas on the advisory boards too.
Exactly. I agree.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, it would help me because if I just say I hear this or I hear that and I take it somewhere, nobody will pay attention to me. So if you guys in your organization feels this way, I would like to have, it'd be cool to have something, it'd be good to have something in writing. And Ed, I see your hand, go ahead.
I've been on 2 advisory boards. One FXC, I was on it for 5 years, chair it for 3 years. And now I'm on Marine advisory boards. They are excellent. Great people. The people that get on the board are, for the most part, centric on the agenda and really deliver. And I think there's both boards that I've been on. Okay. Both boards I've been on, excellent people on the board. And they want to be on there and they contributed and very active. So look, there's a list of vacancies on the city website. And each council person has openings. I would suggest that everybody go out and reach into your area of interest on one of those boards, and then contact your councilman. And I did that with Roger. But anyway, the councilman is very familiar, very helpful in getting you on the board. It's a great experience. You do a deep dive on that environment, and so this, I went from 5 years on the aviation board, and that's when I retired about 6 years ago, and now 2 years on the Marine Advisory Board.
Okay.
Really, a lot of interesting things are going on.
I think there's
Right.
when I look around at this group, there's a lot of people on advisory boards. So we get what you
Yes.
mean, and that's a good idea to go out and see what the vacancies are. And if you can't quite find it, the city clerk will help you. So
There's always vacancies. And if you say, I want to be on it, it's about get you on it. So
okay. Thanks.
don't miss the opportunity.
Okay, no, I agree. It's a good opportunity. So I would love to see all these council presidents and representatives be on boards. So, okay, if there's nothing further, it's been a pretty long meeting, 8:33. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
That was JJ, second. Melinda, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very
Aye.
much, my people. Have a nice evening. Take care of yourselves.
Thank you, Mary. Good night.
Thank you for hanging in there. Okay. Jim, I took the host back. So I know for sure it will record on here. Hi Betty, I know you came
Excellent.
late, but I got you in attendance, so. Rick,
I just wanted to ask, Jim, are you gonna post that ordinance on the website, or where is it gonna be?
I think that's
to-
probably gonna be the best solution, to put it under city events or of interest to the members. That section, that's the only place we can really put it. I don't think you
Yeah.
want to email it out to everybody. It's, if you want, I can email it directly to you, but I'll have it up there by tomorrow.
Okay, either way is fine.
And clearly we know now that there's going to be some time to evaluate it. It's not going to be a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. It's going to go through a longer process than we originally anticipated.
Are you
So,
allowed to say wham, bam, thank you, ma'am?
yes, you can. I just did. Right, Betty? I can say that. Anybody can say that.
All right, maybe you could just email it to Rick, since he is an attorney, right, Rick? And he can understand what in the world all these whereases and where is and what fors mean.
Yeah, and basically it's just, they put it into ordinance language, so it's fairly routine and so forth. What I was able to read when he was scrolling and so forth, it did, it did look normal, but I do think it's important that they clarify their process, especially for the unsolicited proposals, because I think that's where people are complaining and fearful of the lobbyists and so forth and so on, is that people are getting an inside track, and then the developers who are getting the bids are then also contributing to the campaigns of the individual council members and so forth, and that can create
Yeah,
the appearance of a smelly situation.
yeah. That's why a lobbyist for a developer should not be on some advisory board that has to do with planning and zoning.
Right.
I mean, people point this out. All right, well,
All right.
you will get it one way or the other. Everybody, Jim, happy anniversary. Tell your wife I'm sorry.
You tell her.
Oh no, I'm busy.
All right, listen, I have to go. I really do.
All right, I'm gonna end the
Bye-bye.
meeting. Have a good
Stop
night,
the
everybody.
recording.
And thank
Happy
you, Donna.
anniversary.
You're still on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry I was late. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.